In the previous video, we talked about Gauss elimination method for unique solution case. We did the back substitution and Gauss elimination using matrices, and then we found out the solution, unique solution for the system of linear equations. In this particular video or in this particular part, we are going to discuss about the row echelon form, which is essentially output of Gauss elimination for a general case. Now, this general case will also help us to solve for no solution case and the infinitely many solution case. So, just considering about the general system of linear equations that has m number of rows, m number of equations, and n number of variables. So, what is the special case? The special case is that you have exactly the same number of equations as that of the variables, and because you have the same number of equations and same number of variables, you have the coefficient matrix to be square, and you possibly have the inverse. But in case of general form of system of linear equations, it is not necessarily that it is square and you have a rectangular matrix, maybe a wide matrix, maybe a long matrix. If you have the wide matrix, you have more variables than the number of equations, and if you have long matrix, then you have more equations and less number of variables. So all such cases we will be dealing with the row echelon form. So once we achieve, we do the Gauss elimination, we achieve the row echelon form with after some changes, and after that we try to solve it for all possible solutions. So let us just try to identify or try to understand what is the row echelon form. So a matrix is said to be in the row echelon form when a row which contains all the zeros should come below the rows which contains at least one non-zero element. The first requirement. The second requirement is that if a row has a one non-zero element, at least one non-zero element, then the first non-zero element from the left hand side should be on the right of all the pivots of the previous rows. So essentially, which means that the leading coefficient of the matrices should make a staircase. So which means like should make a staircase which is like this. So this is a staircase, but in other possibilities, so with the leading coefficient, that is the first coefficient from the left hand side, which is not zero, if you make a staircase, if you make the lines, then you will get a staircase. So the row echelon form essentially leads us to this way. So let's just try to see which is not a row echelon form. So just for an example, like this one, wherein we get a pivot element, the pivot element, this one, okay, this pivot element, this is coming to the left of the previous row's pivot element. So that makes it not a row echelon form. Similarly, if you talk about the another example, here you have a row which contains all the zeros above a row which contains not all zeros. So which says that it is not a row echelon form. So we need to make it a row echelon form. So let's just try to understand how we can achieve this row echelon form. In this particular case, maybe we have to do something, but in the other case, in the other example, if you see, the Gauss elimination is not yet complete because I can eliminate the third row's one with the help of first row's one, and then maybe I can eliminate two or the whatever be the element after elimination of this 1, I can eliminate the element out here with the help of equation 2. By doing so, I get the row echelon form. Now the only thing that is left out is the example 1, is the kind of things that are shown in example 1. Now if you want to remove that problem, you just consider the system of linear equations once again. So any augmented matrix is actually reflecting the system of linear equations, right? So if we change the order of equations, it does not make any difference. Since it does not make any difference, changing these two rows actually doesn't make any difference. And that's okay. We can always do that. So as long as we are trying to solve a system of linear equation with the help of matrices, so changing of two rows, as long as we are doing it on the augmented matrix, is not a problem. So the system is still equivalent, contains the same solution set. Now, what is basic variable? So once we are done with this, we need to understand uh, what are the columns, so what are the variables that corresponds to the pivot elements. So okay, so pivot, what is pivot? Pivot is the first non-zero element in any row in any equation, which is first non-zero element from the left hand side. So that is called the pivot. Now if any variable you have, if you have a variable with respect to some uh, variable you have with respect to a pivot element, so every column is corresponds to some variable, every column corresponds to some variable. So this is for constant, this one is for constant, otherwise all the other variables are corresponding to certain variable. So if all the columns has pivots, then all of them has basic variables. So which means like basic variables means if in the matrix you get all the variables, uh, in the matrix if you get pivots corresponding to the variables, those variables for which you get the pivot elements are called basic variables, and for which you cannot get the pivot element are called free variables. So for the just for this particular case, if we can talk about um, this one, this minus 10 is pivot elements, and other columns do not have pivot elements, and that's why x1 and x3, x1 corresponding to this column, x3 corresponding to this column, are basic variables, and x2 and x4, the variables corresponding to these two columns, the second column and the fourth column, are free variables. Okay, so let's just try to understand why these two things are basic variable and free variables, why they are named so. So let's just try to understand with this system of linear equations. If you do the Gauss elimination appropriately, you will reach to this situation. You will reach to this particular situation. Okay, if you take this particular example and this example, then you will definitely reach to this situation after completing the Gauss elimination, this situation. Now once you reach to this particular situation, now you want to find out the solution. If you want to find out the solution could be, you can write it in the equation form and then you can try to get the solution. So you will get some solution, you will definitely will find. So let us see whether we have done that or not. Okay, we have not done that. So let's just try to know what happens. So if you take the equation form again, back to the equation form, and put the free variables value to some parametric value. So let's say that x2 is equals to k, x4 is equals to L, and then find out the values of x1 and x3. So this will represent all possible solutions. So this is how you can get. Now, interestingly, you can note that the row 3 contains all the zeros in the coefficient parts and zeros in the constant part. So which means corresponding equation will be satisfied for every value of x, every value of variable vector. So 0 times x1 plus 0 times x2 plus 0 times x3 plus 0 times x4 is equals to 0. It's always true. For whatever value you take, it's always true. But let us suppose somehow you do not get 0 on the constant part, but you have all the zeros in the coefficient part, which means whatever value you take, you cannot get the solution. You cannot satisfy this equation. And that is the no solution case, which has been discussed over here. And now in the next particular case, or next particular video, we are going to talk about reduced row echelon form, which is going to make the last process, which we have not stated here, to solve for all the things. So the back substitution part, which we have not yet covered here for this particular problem, we will see that how we can do it through matrices via Gauss-Jordan method. Thank you.